desire something intensely, not just want it. It's a craving that takes over the heart and attention. Paul is describing people who didn't just use money. They chased it, longed for it, and centered their lives around it. In simple terms, they wanted money so badly that it became the focus of their decisions, energy, and trust. They have erred from the faith. The word erred means
We dive in scriptures that you can reference in the King James Version of the Bible. Each scripture reference will also be in the description. Today we're joined by Pastor Joe, our resident pastor. Pastor Joe, when people hear faith without works is dead, many feel pressure or fear as if they have to earn God's approval. What was James really saying?
Hello, Tracy, and hello to the BBD listeners. It is my pleasure to break it all down. Yes, Tracy, people think works earn salvation. James is addressing faith that produces no visible transformation. That's an important concern, Tracy, because James is not contradicting grace. In the original context, James is addressing people who claim faith but show no evidence of transformation. He is not saying works create faith. He is saying genuine faith produces movement. You see, faith was never just belief in the mind. Faith meant trust that leads to action. If you truly trust God, your life begins to reflect that trust naturally.
Why does he use such strong language, calling it dead?
Because faith that never moves stays theoretical. In Hebrew thinking, something dead is something that no longer fulfills its purpose. Faith is meant to shape how we live, how we treat people, and how we respond to God.
What does this mean for someone who feels weak?
It means don't confuse struggle with dead faith. Growth takes time. Works are not perfection, they are direction. Even small acts of obedience show living faith. James is not condemning weakness. He is warning against empty claims without love in action.
So faith and works are connected, not competing?
Exactly. Faith is the root. Works are the fruit. If the root is alive, fruit will come in season. Let me put this in everyday terms, because James isn't trying to burden people. He's trying to wake them up. Imagine someone says, I believe exercise is good for me. They talk about it. They agree with it. They even post quotes about it. But they never move their body. They never change a habit. They never take a single step. Now, do they believe exercise exists? Yes. But is that belief changing their health? No. That's what James means by faith without works is dead. He's not saying exercise earns health. He's saying real belief naturally shows up in action. In the same way, works don't earn salvation. You are saved by grace, period. But living faith doesn't stay hidden. It starts to show itself. Not in perfection, not in religious performance, but in direction. You begin to forgive where you once held grudges. You begin to care where you once ignored people. You begin to obey where you once resisted. You begin to grow even slowly. James is addressing people who say, I have faith, but nothing in their life reflects trust, compassion, or change. He's saying, if faith is alive, it moves. If it's real, it responds. If it's rooted, fruit will come eventually. So this verse is not about earning God's love. It's about evidence that God's love is already at work in you. Struggle does not mean dead faith. Growth takes time, but faith that never touches how we live, love, or treat others. That's the faith James is warning about. Faith is the root. Works are the fruit, and fruit grows naturally when the root is alive.
Thank you for the in-depth clarification, Pastor Joe. Money is the root of all evil. This verse is also quoted all the time. Money is the root of all evil. But that wording causes a lot of confusion. What does the scripture actually say?
That's a very important clarification, Tracy. The verse does not say money is evil. It says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. The issue is not money itself. It is attachment, obsession, and misplaced trust. Money is a tool. Like any tool, it depends on how it is used and what the heart is clinging to.
So why does Paul warn so strongly about loving money?
Because love, in biblical terms, implies loyalty. When money becomes the object of trust, security, or identity, it begins to replace God. Paul is warning that when money becomes the master, it pulls the heart away from wisdom, contentment, and compassion.
The verse says people have wandered from the faith. How does that happen?
It happens slowly. Obsession with wealth can shift priorities. Decisions start being driven by gain instead of values. Over time, people may compromise integrity, relationships, or faith in order to protect or increase wealth. The danger is not wealth itself, but what it can demand from the heart.
What does this mean for people who want financial stability or success?
Scripture does not condemn provision or prosperity. It warns against dependence. Money is meant to serve life, not rule it. When wealth is held loosely and God remains the source of security, money can be used for good rather than becoming destructive.
So the root problem isn't money, it's people and their misplaced devotion?
Exactly. When the heart clings to money, it creates anxiety, fear, and loss of peace. When the heart clings to God, money becomes a resource, not a ruler.
The verse says people, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Please break down the word coveted, erred, and the phrase pierced themselves through many sorrows.
Sure, Tracy. The verse says, which while some coveted after. To covet means to desire something intensely, not just want it. It's a craving that takes over the heart and attention. Paul is describing people who didn't just use money. They chased it, longed for it, and centered their lives around it. In simple terms, they wanted money so badly that it became the focus of their decisions, energy, and trust. They have erred from the faith. The word erred means to wander off course. It doesn't mean they suddenly stopped believing in God. It means their priorities slowly shifted. Their trust moved from God to money. Their direction changed without them realizing it. They didn't fall away overnight. They drifted and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. This is very important. Paul does not say money hurt them. He says they hurt themselves. To pierce means to stab or wound deeply. Their choices, driven by obsession, anxiety, and attachment, caused pain, stress, broken relationships, regret, fear, dissatisfaction, inner turmoil. The sorrows weren't punishment from God. They were the natural result of misplaced devotion. In simple terms, the verse is saying, when people chase money as their source of security, they slowly drift from God and end up causing themselves deep emotional and spiritual pain. Money didn't wound them. Their attachment to it did. This verse is a warning, not against money, but against letting anything replace God as the center of trust and peace.
Pastor Joe, people say God helps those who help themselves all the time, and many believe it's in the Bible. Is it actually scripture?
No, Tracy, that phrase is not in the Bible at all. It's a cultural saying that sounds biblical, but it actually teaches the opposite of what Scripture emphasizes.
So, why do you think it became so popular if it's not biblical?
Because it appeals to our desire for control. It suggests that God steps in only after we've proven ourselves capable. But the Bible consistently shows God helping people precisely when they cannot help themselves.
So, what is biblical as it relates to this phrase?
Scripture teaches dependence on God, not self-reliance. Think about it. God helped Israel when they were trapped at the Red Sea. Jesus healed people who were powerless. Grace shows up when strength runs out. The message of the gospel is not try harder and God will assist. It's trust God and He will sustain.
Wow, that changes how people view weakness, doesn't it?
It does. The Bible never shames weakness. In fact, it often says God's strength is made perfect in weakness. When we admit our need, we make room for God to work.
The danger of the phrase, in my opinion, is that it can quietly place self-condemnation on people who are really struggling. Some people don't lack effort. They lack support. Some don't need motivation. They need mercy. And some aren't refusing to move forward. They're simply overwhelmed, wounded, or afraid of being judged. The problem is assuming that phrase fit everyone who need or reaches out for help. Life is not one size fits all. People are not one size fits all. Healing is not one size fits all. I discern by looking at one's capacity, not character. Is the person unwilling or unable? Are they resisting growth or recovering from some sort of pain? Do they need accountability or compassion? Do they need a push or a place to rest? Jesus didn't treat everyone the same way. He challenged some, he carried some, he waited with some, and he restored some. I didn't mean to rant, Pastor Joe, but this touched my soul because I was one of those who really needed a helping hand. I had just completed drug treatment, gained custody of my children, back then 4 school-age children, 5 now, but now all adults. I had no job and struggling beyond struggle. I cried many days and nights because as soon as I would claw my way almost to the top of the ditch, mind you, while carrying my children on my back, something would always happen. Either one of my kids let go and I had to stop clawing to rescue him. A person would throw more dirt on top of us or the walls would cave in. Had it not been for family, friends, strangers, and simple acts of kindness, I may have given up. Eventually, I was blessed with free childcare and a great job. But while the walls are caving in and you don't have the tools nor resources to claw your way out, some just give up on themselves and life. And go on life was so difficult, but had it not been for these little acts of kindness from people I don't know where I would be today.
Wow, Tracy, that was so powerful. I'm sure so many need to hear that. So many do not have family nor friends. Many people feel abandoned when they're struggling, as if God is waiting for them to fix things first. But Scripture says God is near to the broken, the weary, and the overwhelmed.
Yes, the message was more of a message about compassion and non-judgment. Thank you, Pastor Joe. This was amazing.
It was truly my pleasure.
And thank you, everyone. This has been the Bible Breakdown, where scripture becomes simple, one verse at a time. Next episode, we will break down Touch Not My Anointed, Psalm 105, verse 15. Many are called, but few are chosen, Matthew 22:14. And where there is no vision, the people perish, Proverbs 29:18. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.